Let's talk about Nick. One of the most complicated characters in The Handmaid's Tale, especially after the events of last episode. I think we need to discuss his character, his motivations, and just kind of the ambiguity that surrounds him. We've known Nick the entire series. We kind of get to know a little bit of his backstory in the beginning. We learned that, he was just kind of a young kid when he was initiated into the sons of Jacob. He was living with his father and his brother. They lost their jobs. They were like steel mill workers, and he was desperate for work. Commander Price found him, kind of convinced him to join the Sons of Jacob, and he joined the Sons of Jacob out of desperation because he needed money. Through that position, he learned a whole lot about what was going on at the beginning of Gilead and all these commanders' intentions, and clearly he wasn't like a fan, but he was still a part of the Sons of Jacob. At the beginning of the series, he's always like really quiet. You don't really fully understand what he's thinking all the time. You get the sense that, he was thrown into this situation. He might have not necessarily agreed with the Sons of Jacob. It's pretty apparent though at the beginning of the series, the death of the first handmaid in the Waterford house, I think that really affected him. He was an eye, but also like he helped a lot in resistance adjacent activities. He has been willing to help June, to help her with many things over the years, and so we do see his allegiance to June, but there's still that question mark. Is he just helping June because he just loves June, and would he have done any of the things that he did for June if she wasn't in the equation, like helping the people that she's needed help for? I look at what he did in the last episode. He's completely sold out Mayday. He caused the death of so many people at Jezebel's. You can argue that he did it for his own selfish ambition. He did it to save his own ass. I also argue he did it to protect June. His motivations have been so ambiguous this whole time because he's been kind of a double agent, but kind of looking at his history, he's basically done things to kind of protect his own interests. He's willing to help when it doesn't cause too much drama. But I don't know. I'm so torn when it comes to the character of Nick because I think he's a decent person. I don't think he's a bad person necessarily, but I think he's been involved in this ruse of being like Gilead and being like a pretty high up member of society. There's no way for him to escape Gilead at the end of the show. I've always believed Nick is a nice person. I've always believed like he wants the best for June. He wants the best for Nicole. I think June got together with Nick initially because she thought Luke was dead, and they were kind of forced into that situation together. I do think you can argue that the power imbalance between Nick and June was quite problematic at the beginning of the series because he did have power over her, and I think he offered her comfort and safety and understanding, but still the power dynamic was a little out of balance. But I think his action in the last episode, he actually caused the death of so many people. I don't know if you can really get past that. I don't know if you can really forgive that. I think like I can read into his character watching the last episode. He looked like he was really going through some stuff internally. I think he's trying to understand like what kind of person he is, because I think he's been playing both sides for so long that I think he's finally starting to question like, wait, where are my values? Where do I lie? Unless he does something spectacular in the last episode or something of the series where he like sacrifices himself or does something really admirable, I cannot really co-sign Nick anymore because that was just awful. That was just awful what he did. I do have a soft spot for Nick because I just think he was what June needed during the most traumatic moments of her stay in Gilead. I just can't really tell where his intentions lie throughout the series all the time. I can assume, but again, he's so quiet and he's playing both sides. It's really hard to interpret who he is. But that's what makes Nick such an interesting character because he's kind of like that anti-hero character. He's not specifically like a good person. He has obviously major flaws and he's done terrible things. There's been a lot of discourse online about Nick specifically, especially after what he did in the last episode. So I don't know. I have very complicated feelings about Nick, about his character, about what he's done. This was like my little mini Nick rant where, again, I don't really know how to feel about him. I'm really disappointed in him. I'm really upset with him. But overall, like, I don't really know. I just hope he does something heroic at the end of this series to kind of make up for what he did.